Martha Jennings had lived in Willowbrook for nearly 3 decades. A retired art teacher with a passion for whimsy, her garden was a lush display of creativity, mosaic stepping stones, wind chimes made from teacups, and now, her newest pride, a bright pink plastic flamingo. She named him Ferdinand. But within 2 days of planting Ferdinand into the soil near her walkway, Martha received a notice from the Homeowners Association. Lawn decor in violation of uniformity standards, it read. Please remove the pink flamingo within 48 hours. Martha laughed at first, thinking it was a prank. But it wasn't. She walked into the next HOA meeting holding Ferdinand like a baby and said, "He stays." That's when the war began. The HOA, led by President Lydia Prim, issued escalating warnings. Martha received fines for visual disruption and non-neutral aesthetics. Her mailbox was repainted beige without consent. Someone even placed a miniature beige flag next to Ferdinand, as if mocking him. But Martha didn't back down. Instead, she added a second flamingo. This one wore a tiny sun hat. "Meet Florence," she told her neighbors. Some residents giggled. Others frowned. Lydia grew furious. "This neighborhood is not a zoo," she declared at the next meeting. But Martha stood tall. "No, it's a community. Communities should have character." The flamingos caught attention, especially among the younger residents. Teenager Ellie Spencer drew a chalk flamingo on her driveway in solidarity. The Garcia twins built a birdbath shaped like a flamingo neck. Soon, pink ribbons, decals, and lawn signs appeared quietly throughout the neighborhood. A few brave souls added their own flamingos. Martha's small act of rebellion had become a symbol. And Lydia? She doubled down, threatening legal action, proposing stricter rules, and forming a lawn uniformity task force. To lighten the tension, Martha hosted a flamingo fiesta. Neighbors brought snacks, wore pink, and danced to 1950s music in her front yard. Ellie handed out flamingo stickers. Even some of the more reserved residents attended, enjoying the joyful defiance. The event was a hit. Pictures flooded social media, and the local paper ran a story titled, "Feathers Fly in Willowbrook. Lawn decor sparks joy and outrage." Lydia filed a formal complaint the next day. But something had changed. People were no longer afraid to express. One morning, Martha stepped outside and gasped. Ferdinand was gone. The soil was disturbed, as if someone had yanked him out during the night. Florence stood alone, her hat crooked. Martha scanned the area but found no note, no damage, no trace. The HOA denied involvement. Lydia called it a mercy removal. But Martha didn't cry. She simply smirked. "We'll find him." She opened a drawer and pulled out her journal. Inside was a map of the neighborhood and a small slip of paper labeled Ferdinand's GPS code. Months earlier, Martha had installed a miniature GPS tracker inside Ferdinand's hollow body. Just in case, she'd joked to Ellie. Now, that joke had become an investigation. With Ellie's help, they tracked the last known coordinates behind a tall hedge at the end of Hawthorne Lane. It was the backyard of none other than Lydia Prim. Ellie gasped. She kidnapped him. Martha put a finger to her lips. "Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's find evidence." Late one evening, armed with binoculars and disguised as gardeners, Martha and Ellie approached Lydia's backyard. Through the fence slats, they saw it. Not just one flamingo, but a whole collection. There were pink, red, and gold flamingos arranged in neat rows. Some had costumes. One had a monocle. Another wore a tutu. "She's been hiding them," Ellie whispered. All this time, Martha took photos. She's not against flamingos, she's obsessed. At the next HOA meeting, Martha brought a slideshow. The first photo showed Lydia's backyard, a pink paradise. Gasps echoed around the room. Lydia turned redder than a sunset. "Those are decorative assets for a personal project," she stammered. "Not for public display. But you ban others from having even one." Martha raised an eyebrow. "Seems hypocritical." Lydia stormed out. The room fell silent. Then applause. Quiet at first, then loud. The board voted to suspend fines until a new decor policy could be written. With Lydia's authority shaken, more residents added flamingos to their yards. One house displayed a 6-foot inflatable bird. Another painted their picket fence pink. Even the community bulletin board had a new title, the Flamingo Gazette. Martha and Ellie created a mural on the side of the community center, a vibrant scene of flamingos flying over Willowbrook. Kids helped with handprints forming the feathers. The town was changing. And Martha? She was proud, but still wondering. Why had Lydia hidden her flamingo love? Ellie did some digging at the library and discovered something surprising. Lydia had once written a college thesis on kitsch art, including a whole chapter on flamingos. Martha cornered her at the cafe. You loved them once. What happened? Lydia sipped her coffee, then sighed. My first HOA job was in a place that banned everything colorful. I adapted, forgot what I liked. Martha nodded. It's not too late to remember. Lydia didn't smile, but her eyes softened. And for the first time, she didn't object when someone walked by wearing a pink feather boa. Martha transformed her front yard into a garden of resistance. It was bursting with color, pink tulips, flamingo figurines, and tiny hand-painted signs from local kids. Each decoration stood for something: creativity, community, and courage. The neighbors began contributing. Ellie brought a potted cactus shaped like a flamingo. Mr. Patel donated a solar-powered bird that lit up at night. Even the mailman left a small pink feather tucked under Martha's doormat. It was no longer about just one flamingo. It was about the right to express joy. Lydia sat alone in her home, staring out at her once beige and orderly domain. Willowbrook had changed, and despite herself, she was curious. She visited the mural one morning when no one was around. As she traced the painted feathers with her fingers, her reflection appeared in the glass of the community center. Her past self, a young artist in love with whimsy, stared back. And Lydia wondered, was I wrong to bury that part of me? Martha received an envelope from the HOA, this time not a warning. It was an apology letter, handwritten by Lydia. I owe you an explanation, it began. Lydia shared how, after her marriage ended, she poured all her energy into rules and order. The flamingos had reminded her of joy she once abandoned. At the end of the letter was a question: may I visit your garden? Martha read it twice, then smiled. Yes, she whispered. At sunset, Lydia walked into Martha's yard. She was quiet at first, eyes wide with wonder. Martha offered her a cup of hibiscus tea and a folding chair beneath a flamingo lantern. This, Lydia said softly, is what I feared would ruin us. But it's beautiful. No, Martha replied. It saved us. They sat in silence for a while, watching fireflies flit between pink lights. And for the first time, the war seemed like it might end in peace. Despite Lydia's change of heart, the HOA council was still divided. Vice President Mark Withers wanted to double down on fines. We need order, he insisted. This chaos cannot continue. But other members weren't convinced. They'd seen the community grow closer, more vibrant. The flamingos had brought people together. A vote was scheduled: repeal the ban or reinforce it. The fate of the flamingos and the soul of the neighborhood hung in the balance. At the council meeting, chairs overflowed with residents. Some wore pink hats. Others brought lawn flamingos with protest signs. The air was tense. Mark Withers presented his argument with spreadsheets and bylaws. Martha spoke next. No slides, just stories. She told of friendships rekindled, kids expressing creativity, and how one pink bird inspired unity. Then Lydia stood. The room fell silent. I was wrong, she said. Color isn't chaos. It's community. The room erupted in applause. Ballots were cast, counted twice. The decision was close, 4 votes to 3. The flamingo ban was repealed. Tears welled in Martha's eyes. Ellie hugged her tight. Lydia exhaled deeply and smiled. A real, open smile. The next day, a notice was pinned to the community board. Lawn flamingos now permitted. Express yourself, in pairs, of course. To celebrate, the neighborhood hosted a pink parade. Kids on scooters led the way, followed by residents pushing wheelbarrows filled with flamingos. There were pink cupcakes, flamingo-shaped balloons, and music blasting from porch speakers. Martha rode a garden cart decorated like a float, waving to neighbors and holding Ferdinand, returned, cleaned, and proud. Lydia stood at the finish line, wearing a pink brooch. She clapped, and when the parade passed her, she bowed. It was official. Peace had returned. One evening, a stranger knocked on Martha's door. He was tall, wore a wide-brimmed hat, and carried a suitcase. I'm Dr. Reginald Featherstone, he said with a British accent. Historian of lawn ornaments and kitsch culture. He'd read about Willowbrook in a gardening magazine and came to see the town where flamingos fought tyranny. Martha welcomed him in. You've come to the right place. Dr. Featherstone became a neighborhood sensation. He gave lectures on Flamingo history, from Florida resorts to suburban rebellion. He even hosted a quiz night at the community center, named that Flamingo era. Residents brought their flamingos to be appraised. Martha's original Ferdinand, a 1994 vintage. Excellent color retention. The community beamed with pride. Ellie started a scrapbook titled The Flamingo Chronicles. Something magical was blooming in Willowbrook. And it all started with one splash of pink. A letter from London arrived, addressed to the Willowbrook Flamingo Society. It was from Dr. Reginald Featherstone, a flamingo historian and author. He had heard of the murals, the controversies, and Martha's leadership, and he wanted to visit. The community was skeptical at first, but when Dr. Featherstone arrived, dressed in pink tweed and quoting obscure flamingo facts, they were charmed. He gave lectures, signed books, and even gifted Martha a vintage metal flamingo from 1950s Miami. Inspired by Dr. Featherstone, Martha proposed a flamingo mini-museum, just one room in the community center dedicated to lawn flamingo history. It would showcase flamingos from around the world, donated by residents and fans. The idea passed by unanimous vote. Construction began immediately, funded by bake sales and art auctions. Martha donated her GPS-tracked flamingo as the first exhibit. Days before the grand opening, someone broke into the museum and stole 3 flamingos. A note was left behind. Return to normal. Martha was heartbroken, but instead of closing the museum, she installed cameras and reopened as planned, with extra security and a renewed sense of pride. Martha recruited 12-year-old Ellie Spencer, an aspiring detective and flamingo enthusiast, to investigate the theft. Ellie interviewed neighbors, collected clues, and even created a suspect board in her treehouse. Within 2 weeks, she cracked the case. The culprit? A former HOA treasurer who believed the flamingos were cursed. He returned the stolen birds, and Ellie was named Junior Detective of the Year. A local blogger wrote about Ellie's success, and the story went viral. Soon, reporters and influencers flocked to Willowbrook. Interviews, merchandise, and social media attention followed. Martha, overwhelmed but proud, used the attention to fund community gardens and a new youth art program. A streaming service approached Martha to produce a documentary about the Flamingo Wars. With community approval, filming began. Residents reenacted moments, and Lydia even agreed to a surprise interview. The final cut was both funny and heartfelt. When it premiered, Willowbrook became the talk of the internet again. With newfound fame, Martha organized Willowbrook's first Flamingo Ball, a formal evening under pink lights, with flamingo-themed fashion, food, and music. It was elegant, whimsical, and unforgettable. Lydia attended in a feathered shawl. The night ended with a standing ovation for Martha. Martha began mentoring Ellie, teaching her about leadership, community service, and navigating difficult personalities. Ellie took her responsibilities seriously, even writing editorials for the Gazette. Together, they launched Pink Projects, initiatives that beautified the neighborhood with creativity and kindness. Another HOA from a nearby neighborhood approached Martha for advice. They were struggling with infighting and dull meetings. Martha and Ellie visited, gave a presentation, and gifted a pair of flamingos. Soon, other communities began adopting similar traditions. Martha received an invitation to speak at the International Lawn Ornament Conference in Amsterdam. She accepted, bringing Ellie and Dr. Featherstone. Their presentation, from outlawed to iconic, the Flamingo Revival, received a standing ovation. A Dutch town even named Martha an honorary citizen. Lydia surprised everyone by opening a small business, Flaming Glorious, a boutique selling flamingo-themed home decor. It was tasteful, classy, and a hit. She donated part of her profits to Ellie's art fund. Martha visited often. They laughed more than they argued now. Ellie proposed a new tradition, Flamingo Week, celebrating creativity, kindness, and unity. The week included parades, contests, storytelling, and mural painting. Martha loved it. So did the community. The first Flamingo Week was so successful, the mayor declared it an official annual event. A publishing house contacted Martha, offering to help her write her memoir. She hesitated at first, but Ellie encouraged her. The world needs your story. Martha began writing, one pink-feathered memory at a time. What started as a neighborhood event expanded to include nearby communities. Vendors, artists, musicians, and tourists now traveled to Willowbrook each spring. The streets were filled with flamingo hats, balloons, and crafts. Martha's Flamingo Garden was the main attraction. Due to Willowbrook's popularity, the city council proposed making it a historic landmark. Some residents worried it would change things. Martha spoke at the hearing. "History isn't what happened. It's what we choose to remember. Let's choose joy." The motion passed. Dr. Featherstone, now in his late 80s, passed away peacefully in his sleep. Martha organized a memorial. His final donation to the museum, a flamingo carved from marble, was unveiled in his honor. A plaque beneath it read, "For the joy of whimsy and the courage of color." Ellie, now a high school senior, applied to colleges with an essay titled, "What a Flamingo Taught Me About Leadership." She earned scholarships and glowing recommendations. Martha cried when Ellie told her the news. Ellie and her friends painted one last mural before leaving for college. A giant flamingo stretching across the community center's back wall, with scenes from the neighborhood's history within its wings. It became the most beloved art piece in Willowbrook. Martha announced her retirement from the HOA. She named Ellie's mother, a kind and thoughtful resident, as her successor. The community cheered. Martha's final meeting ended with a pink cake, a standing ovation, and the gift of a custom flamingo king. Years later, a new family moved into Martha's house. A young girl placed a single pink flamingo in the yard. Martha, now older and quieter, watched from the porch of her new cottage nearby and smiled. The legacy lived on. A team of researchers discovered a new species of flamingo in a remote part of South America. To their surprise, it shared the vibrant pink color that Willowbrook had made famous. In honor of the town, the new flamingo species was named Phoenicopterus willowbrooki. The discovery made headlines worldwide, and Willowbrook's flamingos were more famous than ever. Inspired by Dr. Featherstone's lectures, Ellie and Martha proposed burying a time capsule under the Flamingo Museum. They asked residents to contribute items that symbolized the spirit of Willowbrook: a miniature flamingo, a community photograph, and notes about the Flamingo Wars. The capsule would be opened in 50 years, and it was sealed with a ceremony that was broadcast live. People from all over the country tuned in. Willowbrook became a symbol of peace and creativity. The flamingos, once a source of discord, now inspired harmony. A nearby town, previously divided by a bitter rivalry, reached out to Martha for help. With Ellie by her side, Martha guided the town to resolve their conflict, using flamingos as the centerpiece of their peace treaty. A giant flamingo statue was erected at the town border, forever cementing the bond between them. Martha's memoir, The Flamingo Wars, a story of color and courage, became a bestseller. It chronicled the early days of the flamingo dispute, her role in the movement, and the lessons she had learned about leadership, love, and community. Her book was embraced by readers everywhere. It was praised for its humor, warmth, and the way it brought people together through a shared appreciation for creativity. After graduating from college, Ellie returned to Willowbrook. She was now a young woman with big ideas and even bigger dreams. She proposed a series of art installations across the town to celebrate its transformation. The first was a series of murals depicting Willowbrook's flamingo history, painted by high school students and local artists. The entire town took part, and the project was a resounding success. The Willowbrook Flamingo Gazette, once a small local newsletter, expanded into a national publication. It featured stories from communities all over the country that had embraced flamingos in their yards. Martha and Ellie had started a movement. The Gazette soon became the go-to place for stories about art, community, and quirky lawn decorations. It was a testament to Willowbrook's lasting influence. The movie adaptation of the Flamingo Wars was finally in production. Hollywood took notice of the viral success of Willowbrook's Flamingo saga, and a famous director took the reins of the project. The film starred big names, with the role of Martha played by an actress who was known for her strong yet compassionate roles. The movie was slated for release in the summer, and the community couldn't be more excited. Martha and Lydia launched a podcast together titled Flamingos in Life. They talked about community building, creativity, and how a simple lawn decoration had changed their town. The podcast became wildly popular, and soon it was picked up by a major streaming service. Lydia and Martha shared stories of their past, their struggles, and the unexpected bond that had formed between them. Willowbrook adopted a real, rescued flamingo. After hearing about an injured flamingo at a nearby wildlife rehabilitation center, the community raised funds to provide a safe home for the bird. The flamingo, named Freddie, became a local mascot and was featured in local festivals and parades. Freddie's adoption was a reminder of how far Willowbrook had come, from a town divided by flamingos to a community that embraced them in every way. The town opened a pink-themed cafe, the Flamingo Nest. The cafe was a hub for both locals and tourists, offering flamingo-shaped pastries, pink lemonade, and themed decor. It quickly became the heart of the community. Martha often visited, sitting by the window and watching the world pass by. The cafe was a testament to Willowbrook's transformation from a small, quiet town to a place known for its creativity and unity. To everyone's surprise, a local politician decided to use flamingos in his campaign. He declared that flamingos symbolized unity and creativity, and he was determined to bring these values to the city council. His campaign slogan, "Pink for Progress," was a hit. Flamingos started appearing at rallies, and his image was associated with the town's colorful history. Though some people doubted his sincerity, he won the election by a landslide, citing Willowbrook's flamingo spirit as a major inspiration. Martha received a prestigious National Medal for Community Service. The ceremony took place in Washington, D.C., and she was recognized for her work in bringing together neighborhoods through art, creativity, and leadership. During her acceptance speech, she thanked the community of Willowbrook and shared a story about the first flamingo placed in her yard. The medal was a culmination of years of hard work, and it was a proud moment for everyone who had supported her vision. Lydia, once known for her disdain for flamingos, surprised everyone by publishing a book of flamingo-inspired poetry. The collection, titled Feathers of the Heart, explored the symbolism of the flamingo in everyday life, relationships, and resilience. The book received rave reviews, with readers applauding Lydia's deep understanding of the town's transformation. She held book readings at the Flamingo Cafe and became a local literary sensation. Ellie, now a young adult, ran for mayor of Willowbrook. Her platform focused on continuing the town's legacy of creativity, inclusivity, and environmental sustainability. Her campaign highlighted the importance of art and community, drawing on the lessons she had learned from Martha. After a hard-fought race, Ellie was elected mayor. Her victory was a testament to the town's faith in her leadership and vision. Ellie was determined to continue Martha's work and build an even stronger, more vibrant Willowbrook. Willowbrook made history by setting a world record for the largest flamingo dance. Hundreds of residents gathered in the town square, dressed in pink and dancing to coordinated choreography. The event was broadcast worldwide, and it was a celebration of community and joy. The record-breaking dance was a testament to the unity of Willowbrook. The Flamingo Dance became an annual event, drawing visitors from all over the world who wanted to join in the fun. Willowbrook hosted an international youth art summit, inviting young artists from across the globe to showcase their work. The theme of the summit was Flamingos, the Art of Unity. It was a weekend filled with creativity, discussions, and collaborations. Martha and Ellie both served as keynote speakers. The summit was a huge success, and it marked a new chapter in Willowbrook's evolution as a hub for artistic expression. Martha planted a massive flamingo-shaped flower bed in the town park. The intricate design was made up of vibrant pink flowers and was a stunning sight for anyone who visited the park. The flower bed became a symbol of Willowbrook's dedication to beauty and creativity. Residents took pride in caring for it, and it became one of the most photographed spots in town. Tourists and photographers flocked to Willowbrook just to see the flamingo flowers. A group of theater students from a nearby university wrote and produced a musical about the Flamingo Wars. The play was an over-the-top, comedic take on the neighborhood dispute and its eventual resolution, with exaggerated characters and catchy songs. The musical was performed in the local theater and was met with rave reviews. It soon traveled to other cities, and Willowbrook became known not only for its flamingos, but for its unique theatrical contributions as well. In a national contest for the happiest community in America, Willowbrook won first place. The award recognized the town's creativity, unity, and the positive impact that the Flamingos had on the lives of its residents. The announcement was made during the annual Flamingo Week, and the town celebrated by throwing a huge party in the town square. The recognition was a culmination of all the hard work and spirit that the community had put into embracing creativity, kindness, and unity. Years later, Martha sat quietly under the original flamingo statue in the park, watching children play and families enjoying the day. She reflected on how much had changed since that first pink flamingo was placed in her yard. The flamingos had sparked something much larger, a movement that had transformed Willowbrook into a place of joy, unity, and creativity. It had all started with one simple idea, and now the legacy lived on. Martha smiled, knowing that the spirit of the flamingo would continue to inspire generations to come.